All right, how's it going, folks? Today I'm joined by Jamil Hill Taylor. Jamil is a black belt under Professor Lloyd Irvin up in Maryland, the founder and CEO of Team Lloyd Irvin up in Maryland. Today I brought Jamil on to talk about longevity in the sport of jiu-jitsu. But first I'd like to go over, a little part of, his accomplishments. So Jamil Hill, obviously everybody knows him for his victory in 2018 IBJJF World Championships at black belt and the gi. But before that, he won worlds at blue belt, purple belt, and brown belt, crushing his divisions in all of them. So definitely not a stranger to coming in first at the top at the world's division. With that being said, today, again, we're going to talk about longevity. Jamil, can you share what drew you into the sport of jiu-jitsu at such a young age?
Just having fun. I was in elementary school. I think I was fourth or fifth grade, and it was one of my friends, still to my friend and teammate to this day, actually, Angelo Claiborne, we call him the Truck. He was in the grade below me, but he was best friends with my best friend in class, so we would always play at recess, and they both trained at the gym, and they both had been there for years. They were already competing, and they just kept telling me to come to the summer camp program. Like, they kept telling me, come to summer camp, you're gonna love it, it's so much fun. And eventually, like, I told my dad, and it just so happened that my dad was also hearing from other people that I should go to Lloyd Irvin summer camp. So I went. I loved it from the first day I stepped in. It was great. I loved it. And from that moment on, I just never left. For me, the main thing was it was just so much fun. And the fun was overshadowing all I was learning. I didn't realize what all I was learning and what was becoming of me, like what I was becoming. I just was having fun.
Showing up every day, having fun. We talked about it. You talked about it a little bit over dinner today. But can you explain some of the stuff you guys did? So I think Lloyd was a master of drawing the kids in, making it fun, kind of hiding the jiu-jitsu or the grappling inside of it.
Whether it was Master Donnie, Master Lloyd, or any of the other counselors that were there, the main thing was every jiu-jitsu lesson was behind fun, and it was keeping us either competitive or excited for fun. And those are the main things for kids to keep focused.
Yeah.
So we're worried either we want to play a game at the end or we want to play this game, and we don't realize this game we're playing, even when it comes to dodgeball, that we're learning to follow instructions, how to be agile, how to move, things like that. We'll play Instructor Says, which is like Simon Says, but for martial arts.
Yeah.
And these games that are building discipline and respect and focus, we're just having fun. We're being competitive, having fun, don't realize what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's like, at our gym, you're not pushed to be a competitor. You're learning martial arts, you're learning striking. You don't even really learn a lot of jiu-jitsu when you first come in. We're learning
I didn't know that.
How to defend ourselves, how to carry yourself in public, how to be a good student, how to be good at the house. You're not even invited to be on the advanced grappling program. You have to be invited by having good grades and your teacher sign off. You're good at home, your parents sign off. And then lastly, your instructors at the gym see that you're ready to move up. And at that point, you're allowed to start the process of competing.
Well, I didn't know that. So more so focus on life lessons up front.
For the first almost half a year, you're not doing pure jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. The little bit of jiu-jitsu you're doing is self-defense.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what jiu-jitsu is. You don't know what you're doing. You're doing striking, you're doing some wrestling, some boxing, karate, some Muay Thai. You're doing a little bit of everything.
Nice.
And once you're ready to go get serious, and that unlocks being able to go full-in competitive while still taking your classes for those other things as well.
Nice. So kind of dovetailing into the next topic is most of your accomplishments are in the gi. So you just spoke about doing, boxing, some of the other things. Would you say you have a preference towards gi or no gi when it comes to jiu-jitsu competition?
I prefer gi. Yeah. I feel I can be a lot more creative and I have a lot more fun, and it's just more natural to me just doing gi now. Yeah. But the odd thing is, growing up, when I was around 13, 14 is when I started fighting in the men's division at the Nagas. And I was fighting black belts and upper belts in no gi before I was fighting elite gi competition. So when I'm 14 and I'm a green belt or orange belt, I'm fighting black belts in no gi, black and brown belts in no gi most of the time, that are doing heel hooks and everything else, knee bars, everything. And then in the gi, I'm still fighting blue belt or my green belt. Yeah. So that's kind of how it came up. So I was doing high level no-gi before I was doing high level gi. And once I got to where my gi level was up as well, it was just both. But I've always enjoyed gi better. I just felt like I could be more creative in the gi, the grips. And my mind is always thinking on creating new things and making new ways to be able to solve old problems. So in the gi, it's a lot more fluid in my mind, but I don't hate no-gi. I enjoy no-gi. I enjoy no-gi a lot more now than I used to.
It's like a wave of no-gi kind of taking over.
Well, for me, it was COVID because during the pandemic, I wasn't able to do any gi after March when everything shut down. I didn't start training in the gi until maybe September, October. But we were able to start training with the MMA guys around August or late July, and it was no-gi. So it was like, well, you're gonna come train. You're gonna come in here and do no-gi with the MMA guys, and so I just went all in, and that kind of birthed like me liking no-gi and diving into that no-gi and really pushing to try to expand my no-gi game just because it was the only thing we could do. And I'm competitive. I'm not gonna be coming in and like, oh, I don't care about no-gi, so I'm not gonna try to get better. I'm trying to be the best at whatever it is. So I was doing all no-gi for those first 3-4 months before the gym got back around to where we can go to the gym and train in the gi. So I would say that, and that was like after the pandemic, the no-gi scene kind of started getting a lot more focus to it. IBJJF started allowing heel hooks. It was starting a little bit in 2019 with Gordon doing IBJJF, but I would say after the pandemic, it really went crazy. So as that was happening, before that happened, actually, I was already kind of enjoying no-gi again. It was fun.
Nice. So you mentioned starting at a young age, doing a lot. I think you probably did more in the age from 8 to 14 than most people do their whole career. What would you say is kind of like the key to longevity starting so early, or would you give any advice to the kids that start early? Because I know you do a lot, with the kids program as well too.
I would say having fun. Always having fun, no matter how competitive you are, no matter how upset you get when you lose. You gotta have fun in what you're doing and take each day by day and have long-term and short-term goals and stick to them. For me, my goal was to be the best. I didn't know what that was until 2009 when I went to Worlds and saw what it was, and I was like, that's it, Black Belt World Champ. Before then, I thought the best was when I'm seeing these guys at the Grappler's Quest, No-Gi Absolute. You got Russian Bear and these guys going at it. To me, that was what I thought was the best. So I was like, I want to be that. So those are my long-term goals, and my short-term goals were I want my yellow belt in jiu-jitsu. I want my orange belt. I want to win Naga Worlds. I want to win Grappler's Quest. I want to win all these competitions, and that for me was fun. That process was fun. I was enjoying it day by day with short-term and long-term goals already set and sticking to them and really being excited to reach those goals.
To attain each one of the goals.
Yeah, and it was fun. Like the way our team was set up, it almost felt like competition was last. And because of that, competition became so easy to all of us as kids. We all were winning. We had the number one kid in the country was bouncing around between my teammates before I was even considered even on that level. By the time I got to that level, they weren't even doing number one kid in the country anymore for Nagas and Grappler's Quest. Or I forget what the website was that kind of compounded everything.
Yeah, it had the rankings and everything.
I wasn't, by the time I got to where I would be considered that, they weren't even doing it anymore. It was bouncing between my teammates. It was like, this guy or this guy, between teenagers and kids teammates because of two categories. So I'm growing up in that. We were just enjoying going to the tournaments. We would go up in a van together. We would stay in a hotel together with our coach, and we would fight with each other, go play after. Whether we all want to finish our division to go play throwback tag behind the thing with a pair of socks. Like we're just having fun, like really enjoying every aspect of the tournament, from the ride up to the competition to the ride back. We're all there as a unit, and for that, like the competition felt last, and all my teammates were winning when I came in. So I was the bottom of the pack, and by the time I worked my way up, we were all winning, but that wasn't even important almost. It was like, we're all going to win.
The camaraderie between everybody.
It was like, we're going to win. We go hard in training. We train super hard. We practice. We focus. When it's competition time, we're not messing around. But we're having so much fun. Like we're worried about what we're going to do for fun. What we're going to do this and that. And the competition was like, we're going to handle our business.
For sure.
So that's it was always really, really fun. And to this day, we still like couple weekends ago, we went up with the kids to where I'm an instructor doing that now, taking the kids up and kind of instilling that in the next generation. It's still fun.
That's good, man, because not a lot of people, not a lot of gyms or programs focus on the fun aspect, They try to stay more rigid, the discipline, which is definitely a part. You want that.
Yeah,
but if you start
good.
drowning out the fun with more of that, you're definitely going to lose some of the kids,
We're just now seeing the results of those gyms reaching it, like with like AOJ, where you come in as a competition gym. They're just in the past couple of years getting where some of those kids are now Black World champs, or Pan Am champs, or fighting at ADCC and things like that. But before them, I can't name a gym that was from the gate purely competitive, no fun, like, you know what I mean? Dead serious 3 times a day. Like AOJ was the first, and they just got to where they have students that have reached their highest level. But all the other people that came up as kids, they all came up in some. May not be as family oriented as we were at TLI, but it was some form of, it was fun, it was camaraderie. Even when you look at these kids like Mateus Gabriel, Mayhem, these kids, you see pictures of them as kids with each other. They were competing and hanging out, and even if they weren't on the same team, there was a sense of fun. You could see the fun, and they were enjoying it. So that fun is the biggest part with kids that prevents that burnout, because everyone goes through those questioning and the burnout and feeling like, what else is it that you may want to do? And to push through that, you have to have something besides just wanting to win to push it through. You got to have other things to fight for.
So with that being said, I imagine there's been some losses, along the path. Any losses stick out more than the other? Any notable losses that you can think of?
The way my mind works, whatever my last loss is, will stick out the most until I compete again. So I couldn't do Worlds this year. I got injured right before Worlds, but at Pans I lost a controversial ref decision, and this in the moment it's like, oh, I thought I won this and that, but now I look back at what I could have did. So that loss has taught me the most. I would say overall, I can pick certain losses, and they've taught me certain lessons. Like when I lost in Korea the last time, I think that was the last time I fought in Korea, the end of 2019, there was a lesson in that where I fought injured. I fought and I shouldn't have fought. And I was ignoring, I wasn't sharing information with my coach that my doctor was telling me I wasn't. I was trying to hide these injuries, I was trying to work through it, and I was fighting because it's the biggest prize money ever offered in jiu-jitsu. So I prioritize something I never prioritized before, and allowed myself to get put in a situation where I didn't even train for like the month leading up to this, and I'm because of the injury. And I didn't perform. It's the worst I've ever performed, and that taught me the lesson of I don't fight for money. There's money that I get when I fight, and I can make money doing this, but I don't fight for money. That shouldn't be the motivation. I'm never going to extend myself or put myself at a disadvantage over money. And that lesson has stuck with me to this day. I don't accept certain fights. I don't accept certain things if I'm not healthy, if it doesn't make sense for me weight-wise, if my body's telling me I need to relax or I need to do this or that. So that was that lesson. So that loss had a very big lesson. I had a lesson in the loss I just had, where even if you feel like you're better than somebody and everything's pointing to you being better, you still have to make sure you go out and do things. I got comfortable with the refs. I got comfortable getting ref decision, got comfortable being treated for a while like to my skill level, like Jordan gets certain calls. And I got reality checked where it's like, no, you will still catch those bad calls your team's known for getting. So like I learned a lot of these lessons, and so I would say those 2 losses, my last loss, and overall I would say that loss in Korea gave me life lessons that I can carry a lot. But I remember almost every loss I've ever had.
Yeah, those are the ones you remember the most, man.
I had a loss where I won Purple Belt Worlds, and the very next weekend there was the first Grapplers Quest they had done in a while, like the comeback of Grapplers Quest, which only lasted that one competition, but it was back for that one. And I'm fighting and I'm feeling like I'm invincible. Like there is no more Purple Belt challenges for me. And I win my division in the gi. I lose no gi I got heel hooked by a black belt, but I'm like, man, the gi, I'm not losing in the gi. And I go to the absolute and I lose to Devontae in the final. Or it was either the finals or the semis, and I'm winning this match and then I blow it in the last minute against Devontae, and it's like, it doesn't matter what you won. It's like your last win doesn't matter. It's your next one. So that lesson for me, no matter how big or small the competition is, whatever your next thing is your most important. Sure. If I got Worlds this week and I win, but I got a Naga the next week, Naga's more important than Worlds once Worlds is done.
Yeah, that's it. It's in the book.
And that's kind of how my mind is, so I can always fight up. I never let my body relax or think that something's going to be easy, because I always treat whatever the next challenge is, whether it's training, the next time I do this and shake hands, that's the most important role of my life, and I treat it like that. So it allows me to approach training with a good mentality, and allows me to go to any competition, no matter what it is, and fight up to it.
What about wins? Any notable wins that stick out?
I would say the most fulfilling win was against Marcio Andre, the semifinals of 2018 when I won Worlds.
Yeah.
Because that was the first match where I saw this person as someone who I don't think there was a bigger Marcio Andre fan than me growing up. Since blue belt, that was one of my favorite active competitors was Marcio Andre. He won the division above me at Juvenile. He won Juvenile 2 in the same division as one of my teammates, and I knew who he was. So purple belt, and I'm seeing it, I just loved his style from purple belt to brown belt. Him winning Worlds with like a broke leg, and he's fully casted up, and he's winning and hopping on one foot, and then seeing him battle with Hoffa and seeing him pass Cabrera's guard at 2016 Worlds. Like I don't think there was a bigger Marcio Andre fan than me.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy because more than the Cabrera match, because Cabrera was someone that was like an idol. Marcio was someone I felt like I was chasing.
Yeah.
Like you're a year ahead of me. I need to fight. When I'm juvenile too, you're an adult. When I get to a blue belt, you're a purple belt. So he was always there. So I get to fight this guy, and I'm like, Cabrera is someone I idolized, but I always felt like when time was ready, I'd be able to beat him. This is a guy that I'm still a fan of right now.
Right,
I was watching his match before we're fighting, and I'm rooting for this guy. So that win for me was like, I'm not next, I'm now.
Yeah.
That was the thing for me, and it's crazy that more than the Korean match. So for me, that was like, when I won that match, that was the best I ever felt internally, like I felt good.
Yeah. So that's a huge accomplishment. You know, some people may not know, but your victory at IBJJF Worlds in 2018 made you the first African American jiu-jitsu competitor to win IBJJF Worlds. Can you talk about that experience? Like, you know, you kind of paved the way for a lot of kids coming up, you know, especially as African Americans in jiu-jitsu.
The crazy thing is, and I actually like that this is like the truth to it, I had no idea about that until the next day when someone told me.
Wow.
Like that, my mind never went into that thought of that. My goal as a kid was to win Worlds.
Yeah.
I had African American teammates that I thought were going to win Worlds. I thought DJ was going to win Worlds. I thought Tim was going to win Worlds. Yeah. So I had people, I thought Ty was going to win Worlds. Like I had full confidence that these guys will win before me. So I never thought, the thought process of you're going to be the first or you can be the first never crossed my mind. So going in, it was like my goal as a kid was to win Worlds. It wasn't to be the first African American, wasn't to be the 5th or 6th American. It wasn't to be the first this or the 17th that. I wanted to win Worlds.
Sure.
So when I won it, that was my goal. My goal was check. I did it. Mm-hmm. You had a goal that I've had for over 10 years, and I accomplished it. No matter how difficult or crazy that goal was, I always thought I was going to do it, and I did it. And that for me was a satisfaction, and knowing I was going to do it. And when you know you're going to do something and no one else quite believes it, even when you have people that support you and they rooting for you, they know how tough it is.
So you went in with the mindset of this is it. This is my year.
I'm winning. Every year, the year before was my year. I lost a rush decision to Cabrera. I was mad. If you see me sitting on the side at the medal, I was mad. I couldn't smile in 3rd place. I thought I won this match and was about to win my first year at black belt. I was more excited about that, me potentially winning my first year at black belt. Because you look at the people who came before me who didn't do that. Hoffa didn't win his first year. Like I'm in my mind, I used to chase the people I idolized, and I needed to do what they did or better what they didn't do. Yeah. And it turned into a negative mindset, trying to chase and try to beat other people instead of yourself. But at the time, that was where my mind was. So 2018 was like, man, I should have won this last year. I'm winning this year.
Do you see a different level of inspiration in like the kids now being, you know, kind of like a memorable person in jiu-jitsu, especially for the African American community?
Not just kids, but I don't even remember who it was that sent me. It was like, I'm just going filter, like my messages.
Oh yeah.
And I see that someone sent that. And it was either a person or Jiu-Jitsu Times, whoever reached out, and it was either them or someone else that sent it. And I was like, really?
Yeah, I remember seeing it on Jiu-Jitsu Times. Yeah.
I was like, I am? Like,
just oblivious to the whole thing, man.
It hit me, and then from that moment forward, anytime I talked to an African American that was doing jiu-jitsu, they would tell me how much our team meant to them, just not me winning, but everyone that came before. And there's people telling me they started jiu-jitsu because they saw me compete.
That's dope, man.
There's people that I went to college with that are wondering why I'm coming back with a Naga duffel bag sweaty at midnight off the last train, last train up the Green Line, with no visitation because I'm not doing nothing I'm supposed to do in school except I'm scraping by because I'm training.
Yeah.
And some of these people have started jiu-jitsu because of that. And I've seen them at Pans or Worlds now, and they're like, yo, I understand what you were doing back then.
That's awesome.
We used to think you were crazy, but now we see, like, I do jiu-jitsu now. I started jiu-jitsu because of you. So then it started to hit me. And for the kids at our gym, I don't think they all quite understand it. Because to me, they're like little siblings.
That's true.
I'm still me.
Yeah.
Like, they'll still come try to hit me and run away, or we'll be in the car just going crazy, listening to music, or just joking around, seeing scary movies. But just like they don't really see me like that, they don't see how it's helping them either. Because for me, I'm able to relate and help them with a lot of stuff that they may not even know.
Being able to relate to them.
They may not even know that not a lot of people have someone that can relate or that have gone through everything you're saying you want to do. I've been there to do it, to either succeed or fail in it. And I can tell you what I did, what I felt at certain phases of my life, dealing with certain family things and situational things. And I can relate to so much. I didn't come up easy. Life wasn't like easy coming up. I had to like work for everything I got. Like I didn't have like the life where I just got paid to go do jiu-jitsu every day and got to train 3 times a day, and like I didn't have that. Like life was crazy, and I was able to succeed through that and in the middle of that. And I was winning during the hardest times of my life as a full-time college student on academic probation, because I don't know what I'm doing in school and I don't know what I want to be or what I want to study. And I'm just kind of lost trying to do that while learning how to live on my own in college and support myself and feed myself. Like I'm going through all these things. That's when I was winning the most, like when I was struggling the most. So I can relate to so many different people, whether it's African-American kids coming up and doing anything that if you look at the top, you don't see someone that looks like you. I can tell, like, you don't look at that. If there's no one in there that looks at like you're doing it now. You look at whoever you think is the person you want to be, and when you go to try to be that person or better, you will end up being the first person if someone hasn't done it by then. That's kind of what I took from it. Like, you can't be afraid to be the first at something.
That was a huge accomplishment, man. Not only for a specific demographic, but anytime a American-grown jiu-jitsu competitor wins IBJJF Worlds, it's a big deal because traditionally it's Brazilian or someone tied to Brazil that wins Worlds. So huge accomplishment. What would you pass on to the people who are kind of, you mentioned kind of, winning and still focusing on going through the grind of jiu-jitsu at tough times in your life? What would be like one thing you would pass on to people who may be experiencing that, kids or adults who may be experiencing that through their journey?
You gotta make the jiu-jitsu like your sanctuary where when you bow onto the mat, you don't carry any outside problems on. And when you leave the mat and those problems come back, you understand that you always have that safe place. And you have to build those connections with your teammates and your coaches. And you really have to push for that, not just on the mat, but outside. Because if your sanctuary is on the mat with these people, the effect that it can have is now you're outside hanging with these people, and then you get to make not just the mat your sanctuary, but anytime you're with your jiu-jitsu family, you're in a safe place mentally. You can relax, you can enjoy yourself. You don't have to worry about the stresses that life can bring. So it starts with building that on the mat. Then it goes to building that with the people on the mat or the people around the mat. And then it goes to extend, like, don't be afraid to build personal connections. The mat is where you'll find the most diverse people that have gone through so many different, you can live 100 lives by just talking to the people that you've trained with. Like, you have Army vets, you got people who are recovering from drugs or had crazy. I've talked to people. I know people that I'm really cool with that have had a hard time in their life, and jiu-jitsu gave them a second chance.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who coming into jiu-jitsu and they're already 55, 60 years old coming into jiu-jitsu, and they have so much wisdom.
Yeah.
And they can tell you what jiu-jitsu is doing for them at 60, and they tell you how grateful you are to be able to start at whatever age you're starting at. So build those connections with your teammates, and it's like that's a really big thing.
For sure.
It doesn't matter what teammate it is, doesn't matter if they're here and they're on positivity, because sometimes there are people that come in that aren't as positive.
Yeah.
They see it jiu-jitsu for a sport, not a martial art. And those are people that either the environment should either make them transition to see it for what it is, or they'll never feel comfortable here. They'll have to leave.
For sure.
So build out those relationships and let those relationships help you push. So when you are going through tough times, you have people that are there to help support and give you wisdom both on the mat, and then when you have your family and things that support you, you have it from both ends. And as far as like the grind, like there's always, I don't think there's a single person that can tell you there wasn't a point where they were questioning themselves or if they can really reach that goal, or how hard it's going to be, or what they're missing on, or like I've talked to a lot of elite competitors, and it's a common thing. And if you have that mindset like I had, it was, well, in your head, like I'm a very analytical person, like I can go through a whole scenario in my head and determine whether I should make this or that choice. I do that a lot. Like I think hard. Yeah. So I can put myself like, yo, if you were living a normal life and partying and all that, knowing how you are competitively, would you be happy? And it's like, no, I have to be competitive at something. And right now I can see that I'm in something where I have potential to be the best at. Nice. And therefore I'm in the right spot. Yeah, I could have been the best at something else, maybe, but I'm not going to think about that, the maybes. I'm going to think about what's here right in front of me. And when you're in jiu-jitsu and you think about that, jiu-jitsu is always there, it's right in front of you. You don't have to ponder or question any what ifs. You have what's right here, and you take the, instead of wasting time doing these what ifs and throwing pity parties for yourself and feeling down, you think about what you have and where it can go. And if you like what it is on the end road, wherever that is, whether it's gym owner, whether you want to have a gym, whether you want to have 100 gyms across every continent, or whatever your goal is, or whether you want to be a world champion, whether you want to be an ADCC world champ, whether you want to be a UFC fighter, whatever it is, if this can get you there, you have a reason to stay in. And even if you don't, if you are helping somebody else get there, you have that responsibility as well. And a lot of people are afraid of that responsibility, but for me, it never felt like a burden, because it wasn't a responsibility. It was what I was already doing. Like I teach jiu-jitsu for free. Like if there was no money in this, I'd still be in this chair talking to you and doing a seminar tomorrow. You know, like it's
satisfying. So with that being said, you know, on this podcast, I always like to talk about the process. So what would you describe as the most rewarding or fulfilling part of, you know, your journey or the process thus far going through jiu-jitsu, whether it be teaching, competing, coaching, watching other people? What would be the most memorable or rewarding?
The most rewarding thing is on two sides. There's the personal side, which for me is knowing that all those hard practices where you wanted to quit, knowing all those things that you didn't do in order to train and things you missed.
They paid off.
And knowing that it can pay off, because a lot of people put in that work and it doesn't always pay off, and they think that it means that something was flawed or that it was never meant to be. And it's just like, no, some people could put all the work in and never reach the goal. It's still worth putting the work in, because it will get you to somewhere in something. It may not be in what you thought. It may not get you to be a black belt world champ. You may end up being one of the best gym owners and coaches ever. You may end up running a tech company. Like, it could branch off. Just that perseverance and not giving up, it transfers over. For me, it just so happened that I got the goal that I set out for. But I have teammates that had that same goal, and we grew up with that same goal. They didn't reach this goal, but when I look at where they are in life,
still excelling.
They're the equivalent over there. They're excelling and they're the top of their field on this side, and they're sharing information, they're excelling and making a living for themselves over there, and they love what they're doing. That's the one that's more on a person, like for me. But in general, it's just being able to help people. It started with just kids, being able to coach and help kids, and that's always the main thing for me that I focus on. But anybody, I've talked to so many different people from all different ages and life experiences, and being able to, when someone asks me or has something they want to talk to me about, that I have answers and I have things I can contribute to them bettering themselves. For me, that's like such a good feeling, that people can be going through something and they can come talk to me like, man, I went through something like that. Or man, when I was going through tough times, I did this and it got me here. It may not get you to exactly here, but I got through something similar, or this is what I did, or I can see people's journey and respect it and learn from them. That's like a really big thing.
That's cool, man, because not everybody has that, selfless outlook at, being able to help other people.
Yeah. People being able, like someone asking you a question, you being able to say something that you know for a fact it's relatable can help.
Yeah.
It may not be perfect, but it's something that you know for a fact has helped you, or something you wish someone had told you. Like being able to tell somebody something that you wish someone was able to tell you, and being able to be for someone something that you didn't have that you needed. Like for me, like I came up, I did have a lot of older teammates, but I didn't have anyone that had accomplished what I wanted that I can talk to. I had teammates that were better than me. I had teammates that were like a year or two ahead of me that were like my older brothers, and I can learn. I had coaches and people on the team that were winning things and that were on their way there, but I didn't have that access to them.
Yeah.
But for me, I can go back and there's 14-year-old teammates that have my phone number. There's kids, there's 7 or 9-year-olds on the team that have my phone number. They can call me at any time and talk to me about jiu-jitsu, and just have someone that's in my position be able to, you have full access to me at any time. I see you on a daily basis. And that's something that, like, from me being a kid and knowing what it's like not having that, or not having it in that capacity, I know how much I can help.
That's dope, man, because with your accomplishments, you don't always see that with a lot of people. Some people kind of go the opposite direction and kind of draw in, away from the crowds, and you don't hear from them as much. Most important question, man, being from Maryland, are you a now Commanders fan or a Baltimore Ravens fan?
You're gonna be mad at me. I'm
neither.
I'll tell you this, and I'll let you guess. I hate Washington.
So does just about everybody.
I hate their guts more than anyone else could.
So you're a Cowboys fan?
Yes.
Oh man,
I'm a Cowboys fan.
How?
Family.
Yeah. Okay.
My family's all over. My grandfather's a diehard Bears fan.
Oh,
not Bears, Browns.
Okay.
Grandma, diehard Bears fan.
You gotta
She's
be dedicated.
Chicago.
Yeah.
My uncle, like. His uncle, like my grandparents' siblings, were like the cool uncle of the family. He's Texas. He's from Dallas. They're in that area. So he's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
So my uncle was a Cowboys fan. For me growing up, my uncle was my favorite person to hang with. So I'm gonna be a Cowboys fan. His house was Cowboys. That's where I wanted to spend my time at. Cowboys fan. My dad's he's from the Bay. He's a Niners fan.
Oh yeah.
My family's like. Wherever they're from, my grandma's Minnesota.
Okay.
She's a Vikings fan. Yeah. So like my family's all over, but I took to my aunt and uncle who were like, when I was growing up, those were the cool ones, people, young people in the family to hang out with. So that's where I went. But
that's fair.
I support the Browns for my grandfather.
Okay.
I root for their success even though they don't
anybody
have it.
except for the Commanders or the
I'll
Redskins.
root for the Bears as long as they're doing their thing. When they were in the Super Bowl, we were all in the family rooting.
Okay.
The only team I would never root for is the NFC East team. I like the Ravens. I love Lamar.
Appreciate it.
I don't have as a Cowboys fan, I don't have anything against the Ravens.
Yeah.
When they got to the Super Bowl, when they beat the Patriots that year, I was happy. I was going for it. But as long as you're not NFC East, I'm cool.
All right, that's fair enough. I don't tell everybody, but I was at one point in life a bandwagon Cowboys fan. My little league football team was a Satoma Cowboys, so coming all the way up.
For me, it was I played for the Marlow Heights Hurricanes, so I was a Hurricane fan.
Miami Canes fan.
My favorite player ever, like I have his card in my wallet, is Emmitt Smith.
Oh yeah.
I have a replica. One of my little bros at the gym gifted me a replica Emmitt Smith Super Bowl ring.
Oh, that's dope.
I got his card in my wallet at all times, trying to be great. And so I'm a Florida Gators fan as well.
Okay.
When it comes to
still to this day.
I always keep up with Florida Gators.
Okay.
Kyle Trask is over in Tampa Bay. Like I keep up. Joe Hayden, just having that he ended up on the Browns, which was the team I was already. As long as they don't end up on Washington, I can root for
just about anybody.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's
so
fair.
like I was a Tebow fan. I was big on.
It's hard to hate Tebow though, man. Tebow was an awesome dude.
He never got a fair shake, man.
Yeah, nah, he was a good player
he got his spot taken away when he was winning.
Yeah.
Thinking Peyton Manning, man. Decided he wanted to switch up, but I'm going on sports all day. Like I like the Wizards, like I support, but I'm a Celtics fan.
Okay. What's the tie to Boston then?
No tie to Boston when it came to basketball for college and for pro. It was like I loved the color green as a kid. So if they're watching basketball, that was a team I went to.
Okay.
So I liked the Jets for a little bit, but it was just like
it's hard to stick with the
I'm
Jets.
watching. There's not nothing going on.
Yeah, no.
As a kid, I'm watching. You watching basketball? The Celtics always had a nice team. From a kid growing up, Celtics games are intense. It's a lot going on. So Celtics fan. I was at school with the Paul Pierce shoes.
Okay.
Nice. I got all the jerseys.
Nice.
Like I got the Rondo championship jersey, the Paul Pierce, the Larry Bird. Like I got
everybody.
I'm a Celtics fan. But I'll support all the local teams except
for Washington. That's
Capitals,
fair.
Nationals.
That's fair.
I love it.
All right, that's fair. All right, so I thought I was going to pull him over to the Ravens side wearing the shirt today. But Jamil, appreciate the time coming on, man, and thanks. Looking forward to the seminar tomorrow.
Yes,
too,
sir.
Man.
Thanks for having me.